Hey everybody, welcome back. It is I, DrBossKey, and today I thought I would do a slightly different video. So it's still somewhat related to Shmup Creator and the development we're doing, but more in particular, this is about how I've set up some tooling and workflows in order to enhance the way I'm designing and developing my game. So yeah, I think maybe with that, if you're looking for more Shmup Creator specific stuff, this won't be the video for you, but this might be a good insight for how you could enable video production and video development into your own game development process. So why don't we just jump on over to that. All right. So basically, this is about using video tools to enhance your game development workflows. So here was the problem I was trying to deal with. I basically wanted to understand how long it was taking to defeat enemies using both the top and bottom player weapons. And I was scratching my head on how I wanted to measure that. So the tools I wound up using, we'll just give you a brief overview of those. So OBS Studios, I'll drop these links in the description for you. OBS Studio, I should say, not Studios. Fantastic, super easy to use. It's Stream Deck enabled. I also found within OBS Studio, I basically scorched through the community and basically, I think Grumpy Dog provided a comprehensive stopwatch and countdown timer. It's got lots of cool features, lots of things. Very, very cool, very easy to do, very easy to install. I'll drop a link to that as well. And then I also use the Elgato Stream Deck, which is basically just physical ability to press buttons and have those mapped in OBS for triggering different types of functionality. So I use this to basically stop and start the source that is my timer. And then at the end of this, we wound up replacing VLC media player with the pot player media player because this gives us the ability to frame scrub a little more effectively. And yeah, so with that, I am recording, that's good. So here we go. So to give you an example, I have now the ability to, with a button press, to essentially enable a timer. And you can see the timer doing its timer thing here. And basically what I did is I enabled the timer and then I disable it. And then if I want to check another piece of gameplay, you can let it run over your whole video. But I can also enable it again. So with that, why don't I hop over to the video and show you what we wound up recording. Uh-oh, I think it's this one. Find out in a second. Wrong video. What's the next one? There we go. So this is the pot player. And basically, what I've been trying to achieve, right, is I am going through and I'm rebalancing the top and bottom weapons. So maybe I'll give you a sneak preview into that in a second. But here you can see that I basically can pause the video and I can frame skip backwards to the first shot that hits the enemy. So you can see that right there. Boom. And we're at about 70s. We're about 7.6 milliseconds, maybe 7.4. And then I can frame skip forward. And we'll keep frame skipping forward and forward. And we're basically going to get to the very end of when the enemy explodes. This also, of course, takes into account the fact that we have auto attacks for this weapon set, which are these missiles, and they also do a little bit of damage, so they're contributing. So there you can see the very first frame, basically. So it's at 5 seconds and 49 milliseconds. So, and so I can basically do the calculation to understand the difference. So basically it's about 4.74 seconds for the upper weapon. Plus the mid weapon to kill an enemy that has, in this case, I believe this enemy has 600 hit points. Take a look at, so 600 hit points, right? And this one, I'll do a specific video on how I'm kind of analyzing and doing and organizing my enemy hit points, and of course the damage between the different types of weapons that the game does. So, but that isn't quite this video. So, and then I basically ran over and did the same thing for the bottom weapons. So you can see here. There we go. Same video. And that gave me basically a nice way to analyze the difference. And just to give you the results. So the lower weapon kills the same enemy in 1.91 seconds. So it's about a 59% improvement using the bottom weapon versus the top weapon. And since we're talking weapon theory a little bit, the reason why it's important for me to analyze the differences between weapon effectiveness, and in both cases, if you're firing the top weapon or bottom weapon, the middle weapon still auto fires. So, but the main reason is that the theory for our game is basically when you have an enemy that has more hit points, which is generally not always a great thing in shmup, so you have to be careful how you do it. We want to encourage players to use the higher damaging weapon to kill that enemy. So the weapon needs to feel and be more effective than just using your top weapon. So in this case, with an enemy that had 600 hit points, it's just enough hit points where the player may be encouraged to switch weapons, because we always want you to be switching weapons. All the weapon sets, the bottom weapon is always stronger in our case than the top weapon. The top weapon is for shooting your popcorn enemies, the enemies that have really low hit points, and clearing the screen of a lot of baddies, because the lower weapons, and I'll show this to you in a second, all the lower weapons for us, which is this one here, all have a warm-up. So this means that it takes 0.7 seconds in order to shoot your bottom weapon. So, and you can see that here. So, which then means that it's harder, right, to actually aim at what you want to aim at with the enemies, because you have to wait for your charge up. You're dodging a bunch of bullets, and so it's harder to track when you're looking from left to right side of the screen, as opposed to like your top weapon, which is your guide, right? So because when you have rapid fire bullets, you can follow the bullet trail to see how well you're doing without having to necessarily be zeroed in on your own player graph. And of course, you can switch to the bottom weapon, and so that idea, at least gameplay wise, is that I'm trying to encourage the different use cases between the weapons. So, and I need to analyze that. Anyways, that's a slight side tangent. Okay, so I think let me see, that was about it. So workflow, we basically have, I'll flip over here so you guys can see it. Hall of Mirrors. So here we set up OBS to essentially just have our stream scene source. It has a timer, and when this timer is activated, let's see, I think it's in the bottom. Can't see my head. Yeah, you can see the timer here. So it's on and then off. So we just have a button that controls that on our Stream Deck. And then, yeah, on our Stream Deck, it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to have all the fancy gear. You can do this with just regular hotkeys on your keyboard, or you can use a Stream Deck's virtual keyboard. They have a mobile app and all these good things too. So, and then in the Stream Deck here, we just have a button here which just enables and disables the source itself. So if I'm pushing it here, you can see it changing from white to blue. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I try to keep everything, well strung together so I can continue to use the tools. So one of the things I'm going to use, not only for doing this analysis, but I'm going to use the timer, for instance, to record along with my gameplay, so that I can start to look at things with a little bit more accuracy when it comes to sections of my levels, or like how long it takes for a boss to be defeated, depending on which weapons used, things like that. And this gives us a fairly easy way to do that for our own playthroughs and edification, but also it's very easy to share the tools and tech for other people to do for you as well when they record their footage of you playing the game. Again, like if you put it on YouTube, it can frame skip, so you don't really need this as much. There's plenty of things, but this is one of the ways that I found that helps in terms of a series of tools. All right, thank you. If you have any questions, I know that was dense. There's a lot of stuff. Feel free to put them down in the comments. Thanks everyone that's been supporting the channel and asking questions and just their curiosity. This has been a lot of fun to do, and we'll see you next time.